Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 6 Expert. So since the last episode, it hasn't been a ton of time, but one thing I did do is I went ahead and made up a bunch of organic compost. It's like a stack in 48-ish or something like that. And I've got this laid out, and it's steadily converting over to rich soil. Now this isn't optimal, like super optimal, but we could have more water in here and stuff, but this will be perfectly fine. If we take a look at rich soil, you can see that the modifiers that speed it up is adjacent rich soil. So as this spreads, it's going to spread and spread faster as more and more blocks get converted over to rich soil. And we should have plenty of sunlight coming in here because of the glass. So, and I just got this one little water block at the moment because we're going to be using that today. Which we'll get into that here in just a little bit. I also, if we step outside, I've been working on this big monstrosity that's towering over our little agriculture area. So if we come up, this is all kind of still work in progress, but if we come up through here, you can see that we have this little kind of balcony area here. That way we can overlook our town, and we kind of have all this water. I had mentioned that water is going to be a big part of our desert town. And we kind of have the start of sort of our aqueduct system and how this is going to run, kind of running down right there. So now let's pop over to what we set up last episode over at the Warm Ocean. And before we pop over there, I'm just going to dive down and get some free experience. Just to make sure that we've got enough to... I like to upkeep that to make sure that we've got enough to teleport back and forth. Also, if we take a look up there, you will see that I did suffer a death between episodes. Okay, funny story. Whales like to destroy docks. And I've had whales coming over to this end and just jumping. They can't destroy the chest, but they can destroy the wood. Well, I had the bright idea. I was going to jump in the water and smack one in the face to try to get it away, try to kill it, something, because it was getting over by my dock. Yeah, it just turned around and it just insta-killed me. So, whales are dangerous. Don't poke them. Of course, I'm not, like, really geared. I did have pants on at the time, to be fair, but whales are dangerous. They are very, very dangerous. We got Protection 4, Unbreaking 3. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today, we are going to start into magic. And I did go ahead and I accepted this quest, and then basically I was moving some things and it quickly ran through the rest of these quests. Now there is a quest here for conduits. Let's go ahead because we do already have a conduit. And then we get down to Eidolon and Ars at this point. And now there is a couple quest tabs over here, like Eidolon has one. We're going to go ahead, grab that, might as well take that. And it looks like we do have some relevant quest rewards that we will want. Also Ars, they want us to make the novice spell book. We can do that. And we do now have purple flowers out here, so we have all the colors of Botania flowers at this point. The only flower that I'm missing is lilac. I just haven't went out looking for it. And you will notice that I kind of reorganized a bit. There is our novice spellbook. So let's go ahead and grab that. And we're going to get some Sourceberry Pie. Well, anyways, we are going to get started with some magic mods. Now, we're going to be getting into Ars today, and we're going to be getting into Eidolon today. We're actually going to start off with Eidolon, basically just while this is changing over. We're going to run through some Eidolon until we hit a point where we really can't progress without Ars, or once we get to where we're headed with Eidolon. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is make a Braiser. We are going to have to get some pewter blend. This is iron dust and lead dust. Now, one thing, Rick Kruthoff, hope I pronounced that close. Anyways, did bring up inventory tweaks. If you hit K while you get the crafting station open, you can quickly compress things, which actually does come in extremely handy. So, just a heads up. Thank you for bringing that up, Rick. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves some pewter blend. I guess we're going to be going with 4 of each of these for now, just because that's what we have the iron for. I'll definitely have to go mining today, I think. That's fine. We've got a lot of exposed stuff in our mine, so I can probably quickly just go down the line, just clear that out. Okay, so there's our first bits of pewter blend. Then we can go ahead and throw this on, and I think we're going to get some from the Eidolon quest here. Yeah, if we get 16 pewter ingots and 8 pewter inlays. Okay, I'm just getting a lot of stuff together real quick. This is where all of our little create workshop comes in handy. Okay, so there is our cooking pot. So we got that. There's our pewter. And then we're going to want to get 8 of these for the quest. So that finishes up that, and they're going to give us pewter blend and a Farmer's Delight bag. Oh, okay. It's disabled in expert mode. Alright. And we're going to get redstone. We're going to get a soul shard, some gold, magma block. That sounds good. As for the cooking pot, we're just going to set it up over here for now. So we'll just put in the magma block and the cooking pot on top. Then at this point, we're going to throw in our ender dust and our enchanted ash. That's going to start running, and that's going to get us some calcs of the end. Now, I was looking. I don't think we need a ton of this right now. So I'm just going to make one batch. We will need it to start into some blood magic runes. And if we go to the magic workbench, we'll need it for this stuff. But for right now, I just want the 2 calcs of the end. Now, at this point, to get our brazier, we're going to need some nether brick fences, which that's not really a problem. And then we're also going to need another conduit. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and make ourselves 5 conduits. So we'll go ahead and get just a stack of Algol blend, because I know we're going to end up needing it. So we'll just go ahead and get 6 Hearts of the Sea, which is going to give us 8 of them, or 7 of them, which is more than what I need anyways, because I just got enough Nautilus shells on me to do 5. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And then beyond that, it's just going to be the lapis, the fluorite, the source gems, and we're going to be doing 5 of these. And technically, I think we can do more than 1 craft per snowball. But I don't want to chance it, so I'm going to be making a bunch more snowballs just to be on the safe side. We're going to make another bunch of these. Actually, I have the stuff here to craft 1 more, but we'll get that here in just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead, hit that with lightning. Which technically, yeah, I've got my magnet on. I'll just use that next time. And we're just going to get all of these converted over. Keep striking me with lightning. I'm pretty close to it. To be fair, I'm fairly close. Now, as far as nether bricks, I do have 8. Which I think we got those from like a loot chest or something like that. But we are going to have to pop into the nether. Because we are going to have to go get ourselves some nether bricks, some nether rack, or some nether bricks. I think nether bricks are actually going to be the easiest for us. So I think that's the route that we'll take. And while we're there, I'm going to go ahead and just grab some like nether quartz or something, you know. I'm going to go ahead and take some nether bricks. And we'll just warp back to spawn at this point. Because we've got the nether bricks now to make our nether brick fences. So let's go ahead. Boom. And then we're going to go ahead and get our brazier. Oh, actually, I had nether bricks here. That's okay. I don't mind. I got some nether quartz, which I needed anyways. I need to grab some, so. But we got our brazier for Eidolon. And then they want us to get a couple stone hands. These are just stone and stone slabs. And basically what we're going to be doing with Eidolon is pretty much shooting straight for the Reaper's Scythe, I think. I think that's within reason for us. We will need the magic workbench. No, maybe not. I don't think we'll be able to go straight for that. That's okay. But we're going to get some stone hands and some enchanted ash at this point. And now we need to do the crystallization ritual. At this point, actually, it'd probably be best for us to go ahead and make the book for Eidolon. It's kind of good to just go ahead and have this and not use the Akashic Tome version. Plus, we can definitely make it without any issues. So let's go ahead. There is our Ars Ecclesia. And if we open up the rituals, the crystallization ritual, this is what we need to do. We need to have bone meal and we need to have redstone. So let's go ahead, grab ourselves some redstone, and we got our bone meal at the ready. And I think probably there's a couple different places we could set this up. I know where a husk spawner is, and I haven't looked at the recipe for like cardboard box. We could probably move it. It just depends. If we did the create sawmill, we could get the sawdust and make the cardboard box. That's one option. We could always move a spawner with that. But I think we have this desert temple over here, and I think we're just going to use this to our benefit, because there's always a lot of husks spawning inside of here. We're going to do it right here, and actually it might be better if I bring this out just a little bit more. I'm going to put some Arcane Ash down, or Enchanted Ash, and that's going to keep the mobs from being able to get to us. And then we're going to put down our Braiser, and we're going to need a couple stone hands nearby. And let's see, something I didn't bring with me though is our Flint and Steel. So let me run back up there. Hopefully our husks will hang out for just a minute. They should be pretty good at following me back in. It looks like we do have another one in there. And then for the ritual, we're going to need 2 redstone. They're going to go in these stone hands. And then we're going to need some bone meal. And then we're just going to light this on fire. Give it a second. And it's basically going to consume the husks and pretty much any undead that are nearby. And boom, there we go. And we got ourselves 7 soul shards. Now we're going to just run around inside of here and outside. We're going to try to get ourselves a few more undead. I see a zombie. He would be a welcome addition to our club. Now everybody come over here. We're going to toss this stuff down. Of course, if you have a spawner already set up, we have 5 in here. That's great. If you have a spawner already set up or something, you can do this a little bit more efficiently, because say you have 100 undead, it's going to convert all of those. There's really no limit as to how many we can get. But there we go. We have the soul shards that they wanted us to get for the quest. We're going to get a Sorcerer's Delight. Oh, Vorpal 4. Oh, man. And then we got Returning Board, Holding 6, Weeding, and Sleight of Hand 2. That is quite nice. Okay, now I'm going to leave our Braiser here, I think. But I think at this point we can switch over our focus. We'll come back over to Eidolon a little bit later on. You know, we're not totally done with it. We're actually going to be making this right here, but we need Ars to do that. And Eidolon is a pretty short mod. I was actually curious, though. Oh, this is just telling us about chance. We'll get into those a little bit later. We don't need them right now. What did I just get? I think I got a Heart of the Sea from that. That's kind of nice. Okay, it doesn't actually tell it in there, but what I was curious about... The Wicked Weave. Okay, we're going to need the Unholy Symbol for that. That's what I was curious about, because I actually want this armor in a bad sort of way. This might be the mod that we go with for our first, like, real... I mean, I know we need to do Tetra at some point just for the quest, but this might be the mod that we go with for some of our actual equipment. But at this point, we're going to switch over to Ars, and we are going to be shooting straight for source generation, but we will have to get the Enchanting Apparatus to do that, so we're going to be starting off with the Enchanting Apparatus. Okay, we're going to channel lightning for this. We're going to need clay, apatite, source gems. Okay, now we don't actually have any apatite whatsoever. So what we're going to do, this is all my stripped spruce logs. My stripped spruce log collection. Let me go ahead and get us a pick. And we're going to set out to go get ourselves some apatite. Now, generally you're going to find it the easiest around mountains. You know, we saw it before, and it's high time that we set out to go get some. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to spawn, and we're going to head, well, actually, there we go. That would be a perfect mountain probably to come across some apatite, if it hasn't been heavily mined. And honestly, you know, Tetra, I mean, it's pretty good. Most tool mods are very, very powerful. But honestly, I'm really leaning towards us just going heavy with magic. Because we're going to be able to get into Ars. I actually don't need 10. I have automatic 10. I have free 10 at the moment, and free gold. But I'm really kind of leaning towards us using spells for a lot of stuff. Because spells are actually going to be fairly powerful for us. I know bauxite's aluminum, but I don't actually need aluminum. And since this is close to spawn, I'd rather leave it for somebody that actually needs it. And we may be able to... I'm going to try crafting this in like sort of batches. Because we are going to need a bit of this. We'll at least try like a double batch to start, see what happens. And then we can plan on if we want to use this for conduits. Because I know we're going to need a lot of arcane stone today. And as we move forward, and it would be a whole lot easier if we could just make this in bulk. Yep, it does work. Perfect. Okay, so in that case, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do 15, 5, 5. And then we are going to need some warding stone for the enchanting apparatus. I'm just going to make this as we need it because it is a little bit costly. But if we need to, we can swing that. It's not too bad at this point. We're just going to try to make the most of our source gems for a little bit. And then we'll have them, hopefully by the end of the episode, we'll have them automatically coming in. There is our enchanting apparatus. Which actually, what's it take? Yeah, gold inlay. Okay. That's going to take us a little bit. We're also going to need some of these. We can do fluorite or lapis, probably fluorite. And we're going to want 8, as well as 1 additional one. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves 6. Yeah, I'm going to be short on gold at the moment. Alright, that should be enough. For now, anyways. I don't know. We're probably going to be eating through a lot of gold with ours. But there's 42 more gold. We can get the last of our arcane pedestals. There we go. There's 9 of those. And then we just need to get the Arcane Core. That's another set of warding stones. There's all of our arcane stone gone. That's okay. And then we're going to need a block of fluorite. And there is our Arcane Core. And we're going to get a rare loot box. What did we get? Was it Sourceberry Pie? Surely not. It's probably Mana Boost 2 out of that. Okay, that's actually not bad. We'll make use of that. So, probably not today, because we're not really going to be setting up our proper armor today, but we will make use of that. Okay, now for right now, we're going to... This is actually going to get moved up to there later. But at the moment, we're going to be just setting this up basically right over here, just because it's going to be a little bit easier. We're going to be setting up something here in just a moment, and it's going to be a little bit easier to make use of with it here right now. So we're going to do Arcane Core, Enchanting Apparatus, and then we're going to take our Arcane Pedestals, 8 of them, and just kind of lay these out however is convenient for us. So right now we're going to set them up just like that. Okay, now if we take a look at, for example, the Crystallizer, most anything at this point, it's going to require this Arcane Gold. Now right now, there's 2 different methods to craft this. There's the no source method, and there's the source method. And if we take a look at, for example, making source, like going with the source links, because to really push into ours, we're going to have source. All of these are going to require a bit of that source link. Now, we're going to be going with the agronomic source link to start with, because this is going to generate source upon plant growth. And we're actually going to be setting up something today just to make this a whole lot easier on us, but we're going to need a bit of this gold inlay. At the bare minimum, we're going to have to do 4 crafts of this. So we are actually going to need another conduit to do that. So conduit, 2 redstone, 2 gold, and a soul shard to pull this off. So let's go ahead. I've got the gold. I've got the soul shards. We'll go ahead and craft what we can. So 2. Then we're going to take our conduit and we're going to put that down in the middle. That's going to activate. It's going to see these arcane pedestals with our items on it. And it's going to start absorbing those. And once it's done, we have our very first batch of arcane gold. Now we get to repeat this. So costly. So costly right now. But that's why we're going to be using arcane gold a lot. And that's why rushing to where we actually have source to where we don't have to use conduits to do this is going to be very, very important for us. Okay, we don't have the shells right now. We'll have to wait for these to build back up. That's fine. Actually, out of this chest right here, we got a mending book. Holding 5, mending, and vigilante 3. That's a pretty big deal. I'm kind of excited about that. Because it means we do have a free mending kind of floating here. I'm hoping we get some more of these. This hasn't been up that long at this point, to be honest. And we've already got our first mending book. So that is a very, very, very good thing. Well, actually, I was just looking. We're going to need a conduit, too, for the source link. So I think instead of waiting for that, let's just swim down to the bottom here. And we're just going to break some seashells real quick. Get ourselves a few nautilus shells real fast. The quick method. Till that builds up a bit more. It's doing its job. It's just, you know. It's only been running for a few hours, so. And we can also find the seashells just along the beach as well. Okay. I got my 8. I'm going to head back. We should be able to just build up the rest. This is like our big conduit push, where we need just a lot of conduits, so. And there's our 2 conduits. And then we're going to craft our last inlay. Or arcane gold, 4 inlays, but. And then we're going to get our gold inlays. And now, at this point, we can go for the agronomic source link. So we're going to be gold, conduit, we've got all that stuff. We're also going to need phyto grow, which is very easy for us. At this point, we're going to need sand, we're going to need apatite, we're going to need some potassium nitrate. Then all we got to do is lay this out, the gold inlays, the gold nuggets, the phyto grow, and then lastly the conduits. We're going to get that going. This is the last time we have to worry about crafting without source. There we go. Agronomic source link. Okay, let's pop back over to Ars. Well, there's actually a quest for this. If we get a source jar, which we're going to need one anyways. But we're going to need some warding stone to pull this off. So I am going to have to craft a little bit more of that, which means I'm going to have to craft another charged snowball. But luckily we won't have to craft these much longer either. That's another really nice thing. Or no, I think we will, because I think lightning from ours is like a tier 3. So yeah, we will have to craft it for maybe a little bit longer, but. Oh, and this is actually going to be the last of my source gems. I may have to go mining. Because I think for the. What exactly do we need for the crystallizer? Yeah, we're going to need one for the crystallizer. A little bit of warding stone. We're going to need the gold inlay, but that's going to be a whole lot easier in just a moment. There we go. There's 21. I'll eat this maggot. Okay, so let's get our very first source jar. Well, that's half of it. And then we're going to get this. There we go. And we completed a couple quests. We get a World Shaper Sextant and a Farmer's Delight with more pasta with mutton chop. And then we're also going to get some source berries, some melon seeds, and a rare Ars Marvelous Clay. Really? Really? So technically, I mean, we can use that to make, like, the tier 2 glyphs. But I think, yeah, I mean, this is going to hold us back a little bit. This one's definitely going to hold us back a little bit. Now that we've got that, now it's time to set up our source production. So I'm just going to dump everything that we're not needing right now. We're going to go ahead and take all this rich soil. There's also the farming for blockheads soil. Xavian was looking at the code and he said, technically it's better if you're just using the agronomic, you know, because it doesn't count as a bone meal effect, whereas the rich soil does. But we're going to be actually kind of double dipping with our mana setup. Once we get it up and going, we'll kind of start double dipping from it. And also, let me go ahead and get a couple shovels just to speed this up. we're not too far out from getting some better tools. But these have honestly been just fine. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put down our rich soil, and we're going to build a farm. But this one's not going to require water, because the rich soil doesn't need water. It's amazing like that. So we're not going to need a water source on this one. It actually needs to go down one more, though. That's 4 blocks. 4 blocks. Perfect. We can go ahead and use Vein Miner to speed this up a little bit. And if you were wondering what was inevitably going to go on this side, this is it. We're going to be using this side for a bit of mana production. Or source production, I should say. Okay, so let's go ahead, grab ourselves a hoe, and I want to say, like, I can't normally trample with the umbrella, but yeah, so you can see this, we can't trample it. And eventually we're going to be changing all of our crop fields over to rich soil, but it's not really expensive, especially with the fish bones coming from the fish farm. It'll be a little bit easier, probably come next episode, so we may set up a create saw, which means it's a little bit easier than me standing there with the hopper chopping wood to get the bark that we need. So that will definitely help things out a little bit too. Okay, so what we're going to do is, actually let me grab that because I'm going to mess this block up briefly. Let's grab our agronomic source link. Let's go to the middle of this, and just right up here, we're going to put the agronomic setting right there. And then we're going to go ahead, right over here, we're going to set up our source jar. For right now, this part's going to be kind of temporary. It's just source relays are a little costly for us. And they do take 1,000 source, but they do require source gems, so I really don't want to push onto those until we have the Crystallizer. Plus we need, you know, the Arcane Stone, a little bit easier once we get the Crystallizer and so on. So for right now, we're just going to have the source jar sitting there. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and place out our source berries. And whenever these get a growth tick, they're going to send just a little bit of source up to this. And it should be able to see the source jar. There it went. Right now it's 0% full. It basically detects crop growth, and it gets a boost if you're growing magical crops. So Mage Bloom, Sourceberry. It's going to get a little bit of a boost there. So we're going to go ahead and gather up our source berries. I can't remember. I don't think I planted any. I think I was planting this as rice. Yeah, I already filled it too. That's fine, because we're going to have some big sourceberry fields here. So, and we'll also end up doing a Mage Bloom field here as well. Let's see, Mage Bloom. There are 4 source gems and then any kind of seed. Okay. But if we take a look, we have 1% field on the source jar. So we kind of have to give this a little bit of time. But while that's running, let's take a look at the Carbuncle Charm. We're going to need source gems for that too. Okay, so what we're going to do at this point, we're going to go ahead, chunk load this area. I'm going to go ahead and unchunk load that, because we don't need it running. That was just running for the compost. And we need to go out and we need to do a couple things. First up, I do need to go mining. I need to get more source gems because we don't have any, and we're going to need at least a little bit to get us rolling. And then I also am going to want to go out and find a carbuncle. They tend to be fairly common around forests and stuff. We're actually just going to pop over to spawn. Carbuncle shards are actually the only Ars critter that I haven't found from loot. Of course, we haven't done a whole lot of looting, but it's the only one that I haven't just found from looting things. One thing we might be able to do is if we go into settings, entity heads, it is set to true. I'm going to set it to large entities. Enabled. Oh, there we go. We have this little mini map now. This is a different mini map, I guess. So I guess there's like 2 mini map options or something. We're going to run this one. That sounds fine. Just for the purposes of searching for this, and then we'll turn it back off because I know it kind of cuts into this, but it's going to make finding carbuncles substantially easier for us. Okay, we're actually in a little village near Severd's claim, and we have an enchanted book with night vision and a superstitious hat for extra level of looting. So we're definitely going to take that. I don't know if we don't have anything on our head. There we go. We're going to be a little leprechaun now. I just kind of popped in because I was like, well, we might be able to find just carbuncle shards somewhere, and that would save us a little bit of time there. Though I'm not too hopeful because usually that kind of stuff is a little bit different. And this is actually the wrong direction from what I was wanting to head to, but it is possible that we could come across lilac, though. I see lilac. Okay, now there is a battle tower here. It is possible we could maybe find carbuncle shards here. Do we want to bust the spawners as we go? I think so. Mana Steel. Thief's Hood, we'll take it. Is that Vex? Yep. That was a Vex spawner. Phantom Membrane, Iron Nuggets, we'll take it. And then we're just going to take all our blocks of gold. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to take the Waystone too. We earned the Waystone. I actually can dump all this cobblestone if I need the space. Which I think we can use the blocks of gold to summon a boss, right? I'm not that worried about the boss. I was thinking that's how those worked, but I could be wrong. There's so many, like, fighting tower mods. I don't remember which ones are which, to be honest. But I don't care to fight a boss. I'm not even wearing a chest piece or legs. Like, I'm not geared to fight a boss at the moment. Oh, we have bamboo. By the way, there's a witch up here. I'm going to go ahead and throw my Ars Ecclesia at it. And that way it's going to give us a chance. We unlock the Wicked Sign. Just while we're out and about, might as well go ahead and knock that out and get it. Okay, I see one on the map. It's actually underneath that skeleton. It kind of looks like this brown thing with like 2 wings or something on its back. Yeah, it's running towards the skeletons. That's wonderful. There we go. Maybe it'll run off. Yeah. There we go. We're kind of stealthy, so this little guy right here. Come on back. He's going to run over. He's going to grab that. And there we go. He's going to turn it into some carbuncle shards. I'll just toss this. I have tons of sand. We're going to go ahead and grab that. We got 2. Perfect. I don't see any more on the map. So I'm just going to head... Oops, not home. I'm going to head back to spawn. And we can just warp back home. That's one of the 2 things that we were going to need. Not to mention we did get a night vision book. So that's kind of nice too. And I got some Birds of Paradise flowers. We got our lilac. Just a lot of little things like that. Got a bit of iron too. So now if we take a look here. Looks like all of our source berry has grown. You can see that we've got 39% full on our source jar. And we're just going to harvest our field and replant it at this point. That way we can get these seeds spread a little bit more. Because we got a lot of source just off that little bit of field. We're at 43% filled at the moment. Okay, so now at this point I've got to go out and I've got to get source gems. I need a handful. I don't need a ton necessarily because we're going to be making these automatic very, very quickly. But I do need at least a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with like 3 picks. There's a carbuncle right over there. Are you serious? I was literally over in that area. And there's one right over there that I'm not, going through that area. I'm going to turn that off because it's depressing me. I will still need more of those, but I'll probably check and see if he's up whenever I go back up. But let me see. Is there a limit, like a Y limit for source gem? Because I should probably check on that first. Normally there's not really, but Yes, 20 to 46. Okay, so I should probably just head back up. Probably mine about the level where lead's at, honestly. That way you can get lead and we can get source. Okay, we've got 20, and that's going to be sufficient. Honestly, I'm just going to trash. I'll keep the dirt, but I'm going to trash the rest of the stuff. Honestly, as long as you're mining the Y level, super easy to find. I've noticed ores in this pack, they're not like super difficult to find at all, but most of them do have a certain Y level, so it's always worth checking. Because normally source GM ore doesn't have a Y level, you know, for example, but it does on here. I've noticed a lot of things have very specific Y levels that we need to search for those. Okay, so now at this point we should have plenty of source built up. So that shouldn't be an issue. We do still have our other arcane pedestal. That's perfect. Let's go ahead. Let's grab all of this. Let's grab our enchanting apparatus and stuff. We're going to move this over a bit closer to our source jar. And then we'll lay out our pedestals like so. We've got 78% full on our source jar. That's great. All right, now if we wanted to get our Carbuncle Charm, this is going to be gold nuggets, carbuncle shards. It's actually very, very cheap. So we're going to go ahead and lay this out. Lay out our arcane gems, carbuncle shard, and we're going to get this converted over to a Carbuncle Charm. This is what we actually use to summon the carbuncle itself. Now, in order for us to get the Dominion Wand, this is going to be... Oh, we can just do it with a mixer. Okay. This is a little bit more of a step because we're going to have to get the blaze burner, but it's not going to take us that long. So we'll come right back to that. But for right now, we'll go ahead and do that first. I was planning on getting into this next episode, but this episode is as good as any time. So there is our blaze burner. And then we just have to go into the Nether and find ourselves a blaze. Does mean we're going to have to run over to the Nether Fortress, but that's fine. And honestly, the hardest part with the blaze burner is just getting to the Nether Fortress and dealing with these backpack mobs, because I hate these things. Let's go ahead and grab our blaze. And did somebody by chance put in a waystone here? Because I'm almost willing to bet that they did. No, I actually don't see one. Let's see if we can kill it with our sword. Not our cleaver, but our sword. Because there is that chance... Well, never mind. I thought I had one more hit on the cleaver, but that's okay. There is a chance to get the backpack from that, but... Let's go ahead and warp back to spawn. And we'll just teleport back over to our oasis. For the Dominion Wand, the Tinker's Bronze was any kind of glass and then 3 copper. And it's also important that we have some source of fuel to fuel the blaze burner. Later on, we'll have to start getting blaze cakes. I know they're required for some recipes a bit later on, but for right now, just default fuel will be fine for us. We'll toss in our glass, our copper. Let's take our fuel. We'll throw a couple pieces of coal in there. That should be fine. But yeah, actually one piece would have been fine because it's just a single recipe. But there is our Tinker's Bronze. Scented stick. We're 95% filled. Awesome. And you can see 1,000 source didn't do anything to this. So what we're going to be setting up is really going to be kind of overkill probably. But there we go. At least for a little bit. Later on we'll need more source, you know, coming in. And then the next thing we're going to make is we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a Mycelial source link right here. This is going to take some gold inlay. It's going to take a sprouting fungus. Oh. We have to go to Atom. Okay, that's fine. What we've got right now is fine for source. It does mean that the carbuncle, probably what I'm going to do for the time being. Basically, I was going to have the source berries being fed just to make more source. But what we've got going right now is fine as long as we have it automated. We could either have a trash can system, or, even better, we can have our carbuncle producing compost for us. And I like that. I like that even more, personally. Because I believe... Let me just double check before we go through the trouble of setting it up. But I believe source berries... I think I've dumped some in compost before. Yep. 30% chance to make compost. So probably after today, we will have no more... like really bad need for bone meal. I had another drawer, but I don't know what happened to it. Because I don't think I used it for anything. Oh, right here it is. Okay. That was the one that used to have sandstone in it, but I used all the sandstone that was in it and, you know, building that. And so now it's just been sitting here empty. All right, and this is, of course, going to be a temporary setup, but what we're going to do is we'll have the composter setting here, the hopper setting here, and we'll have the drawer and the hopper like that. Okay, now what we're going to do, and of course bear in mind all this is like going to deal damage, we're going to put down our carbuncle right there, and we're going to click it. There we go. We're going to grab our carbuncle, and we're going to tell him he's going to store the items in the hopper. Shift right click to do that, and he's going to start grabbing. It's going to take him a little bit, but he's going to start grabbing the source berries from this farm and dumping them into the hopper for us automatically. Now, this whole farm, it is chunk loaded, so we should be good there. So he's going to start producing, basically just passively producing bone meal, and he's going to keep this farm running so that it continues to produce source. Now, as it stands right now, we're not going to eat through all this source. It's 100% full already, and we don't have a way to really use it all up. Now, to make our arcane gold, it's a bit cheaper now because we can use those soul shards, since we do have access to source. So let's go ahead. I'm going to have to smelt up some bones, but beyond that, it's extremely cheap for us. And now we get to start making our arcane gold substantially cheaper, which is going to be quite nice. There's our Enchanted Ash. So it's going to be Enchanted Ash, redstone, gold, soul shard. I love the fact Dominion Wand was tweaked, because like you rarely ever see tools tweaked, you know. And so I really do like seeing that recipe tweaked, because had it not been, I mean, the carbuncle, I mean, it really wasn't bad, but it did require a little bit, you know, an extra step that I needed to do anyways. But it did require that of me. All right, so we're going to go 2 gold, 2 redstone, Enchanted Ash, soul shard. We're going to let that run. And now that we have source, we can make our arcane gold with that and not require a conduit for every arcane gold. And it's good timing too, because for the crystallizers, we're actually going to want a little bit of this, to be sure. And just remember, position for this recipe, it doesn't really matter. I just kind of lay it out roughly the same way every time, just because it's a little bit easier to remember. Technically, we could probably shoot for 2 crystallizers, but honestly, with it being on a server, I think this is going to be fine. And what I'm going to do is, while this is running like throughout the night and stuff, I'm just going to let it feed off of our source. And then probably whenever I get back on, I'll remove it from the source, because see, the crystallizer can run passive and it can make source or source gems. It can make them passively without needing to actually feed off of a source of source, but it does produce source gems faster if we provide it with source. So we're going to be providing it with source just to make our lives a little bit easier. But I do know that source gems are used for a literal ton of stuff within this pack. Like, for example, mana powder, we're going to have to use source gems. Like, we need it for the scarab. We need it for arcane stone, of course. The worst part of making arcane stone is the source gems at the moment. We need it for conduits. We also need to crush it to make mana powder. We need it for making spirit attuned gems. We need it for making blood gems. We need it for a ton of enchanting apparatus stuff. I mean, it's used for a lot of stuff. Sconces, which I plan on decorating with. That's probably just tip of the iceberg, but there is our crystallizer. Apparently there's a quest right there. We get a glyph of light. we'll get into that next episode. Of course, we could just right-click it. I don't have my spell book on me, but we're going to wait until next episode. And there's really no chance of this overflowing, so I'm not going to worry about a drawer right this second. They're not terrible to make, but they're also not super convenient to make right just yet. We need to get into bees fairly soon. I think as far as our gates go, though, I mean, technically we could start bees, like really, really basic bees. But bees kind of fall in after Nature's Aura, which we're kind of at that point. I think that we're getting pretty close to being able to start Nature's Aura, but we're going to take our Crystallizer, we're going to plop that down on top of the hopper, and as it makes our source gems for us, the hopper's going to extract them. We could swing a relay at this point, but it does mean I'll have to craft a little bit more arcane stone, because we are going to need to feed this with source, because it's not going to be able to automatically extract. So we'll go ahead, toss in our source jar, and we're going to get our very first source relay. There we go. And then this can pretty much go anywhere. What we're going to do is we're going to set it up right here. Shift right click to clear the connection. We're going to grab this and then right click there. Relay is going to be taking from that. And then we're going to take that. No, I'm sorry. Other way around. Okay, I got it this time. Right click the source jar, right click the source relay. It's going to take it from the source relay. Then we're going to right click the source relay, right click the crystallizer to start sending its source. So there we go. And you can see it's going to very, very quickly drain the source from the source jar, but we're going to start producing source gems. And then server being on 24/7, this is going to continue making source. The carbuncle is going to keep grabbing all the source berries, turning it into compost for us, dumping it into the drawer, making us bone meal. It's not likely to make 32 stacks of bone meal before I'm back on here. And then as that runs, it's going to keep making more and more source, and that source is going to immediately get turned into source gems, thus providing us with source gems, and then like tomorrow we'll have lots of source gems. And it means we probably won't have to mine for source gems anymore. So I won't leave this running when we're needing source, but whenever we're just producing excess source, we might as well have this running. You'll notice he's not really getting all the berries, but that's okay. Probably if we put the composter more in the middle, he would be able to see them all. Sometimes he's going to come over and do that, though, and occasionally he'll empty it out. So, anyways, with that, we're going to end out this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, just to update with when new videos come out. Next episode, I will go ahead and say we're going to be basically spending an episode just kind of enjoying some of the things that we've gained access to. So we're going to probably get some stuff from Eidolon to kind of boost up our character. We're going to get some stuff from Ars, get into a little bit of spellcasting and the glyph press and stuff. And then we're also going to get some upgrades for Create. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.